Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear students, colleagues and my viewers, first of all let me greet in advance to all my viewers, students and the well-wishers on the eve of this auspicious day of Eid al-Fitr. May the God of heavens shower innumerable and boundless bounties upon the whole ummah. May we witness a new dawn of peace and tranquility. Ameen. Respected students, first of all, let me recapitulate to my students of class 9th what we were discussing about the concept of this constitutional designing. The last theme and the last subtopic which I have chosen, that was the guiding values of the constitution. In the same very topic, let me refresh and retrieve your mind. What I was talking about this different values of the constitution that guided the constitutional framers for framing and giving us the concrete design of the constitution of India. Then in the same context, I was just quoting to you the Mahatma Gandhi, first of all, when he in his new edition, Young India, he demanded for the constitution of India in 1931. Later on, I was talking about this Ambedkar as well, the father of Indian constitution. Lastly, I talked about one of the most beautiful speech of the man called Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, entitled as "The Tryst with the Destiny," in which he addressed the final stage to the nation on the midnight 15 August 1947. So these were certain issues on which the constitution was framed. So dear students, the talk of the day is that let's talk today the last subtopic of this chapter, that's titled as this the philosophy of the constitution. What are those philosophical tenets, what are those philosophical values which were within the back of the mind of the framers of the constitution of India? Certain values which guided them to establish, to give a broad and detailed constitution for the country. Dear students, today we are going to talk about them. So among them, the credit wholly and solely goes to this great man on the screen, namely B.R. Ambedkar, plus this person, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as well, who toiled very hard, who faced a lot of ups and downs. Who traveled almost 64 countries of the world. Ultimately, they burst to the country with a new constitution. That's the Constitution of India in the form to us. So, dear students, let's talk that very thing, those very philosophical tenets upon which the constitution of country is based. It's based upon the certain tenets. Let's discuss those tenets one by one. So, dear students, I was talking about the different values, different ideas which were on the back of the framers of the Indian Constitution to lay down the strong foundation of the Constitution for the country. So, these values that inspired and guided the freedom struggle and were in turn nurtured by it formed the foundation for Indian democratic system. These values are embedded in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. They guide all the articles of the Indian Constitution from their side. So, dear students, let's have a quick glance toward the screen. It's what we see, witness the preamble for the country. The preamble that's in which the values are embedded. The preamble, what the greatest jurist of the country, namely N.A. Palkiwala, defined it that it's the identity code of the Indian Constitution. He called it's the identity code of the Indian Constitution. It indicates that it is a reference, it's a reflection of the Indian Constitution of India. If we are supposed to turn the page from line to line, let's try to understand the concept of the preamble first of all. So it's the basic gist, it's the basic bottom line, it's the basic crux, it's the basic line, it's the bottom line of the Constitution of India. The whole Constitution of India, all the long bag that revolves around the same directions. That's what's simply called the Constitution of India. So, dear students, let's have a brief historical look first of all towards the world politics. The American Constitution was the first to begin with the preamble. Many countries, including India, followed the same practice. It refers to the introduction. It refers to the preface of the Constitution, and what I simply concisely quoted the man Palkiwala, that is the identity code of the Indian Constitution. So, dear students, the preamble of the Indian Constitution is based upon the object resolution drafted and moved by the Pandit Nehru and adopted the Constitutional Assembly. It has been amended by the 42nd Amendment in 1976. So, let's try to recite the preamble of the Constitution. So, it speaks like this: "We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India, into a sovereign, secular, democratic republic, and to secure all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and opportunity, and to promote among them fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individuals and the unity and the integrity of the nation in our Constituent Assembly. This 26th day of the November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give ourselves this Constitution. So, dear students, these are the opening lines. It's the basic message of the Constitution of India. These are the basic values upon the Constitution of India, upon which the whole structure of the Constitution is based. So I must call it, it's edifice of the Constitution of India, upon which the whole Constitution is established. So let's have a quick look on our left side. The person here, it's none other than the man called Patel, Sardar Patel. So Nehru, whenever we talk about the Constitution, certain names needs to be mentioned repeatedly. That's the Pandit Nehru, it's the B.R. Ambedkar, and Sardar Patel. So dear students, before discussing the different things of the preamble, let me not forget to mention here that these three persons played a very great role in shaping the Constitution of a country. They established almost 8 committees within India, to moving from pillar to post, to give country a new concept of the Constitution of the country. So dear students, let's move on again to the preamble of the Constitution. What these philosophical tenets like justice, these philosophical ideals like liberty, equality speaks to us. What is this we the people of India? Whom we are addressing? Whom this nation is addressing within this preamble? Let's try to find out all the answers to all those queries within this preamble of the country. Okay, dear students, so let's have a quick reading of the preamble of the Constitution from line to line. The first of all, we the people of India. We the people of India. Dear students, the Constitution has been drawn upon and enacted by the people through the representatives and not handed down. It's not handed down to them by a king or by the queen or by the outside power. It means that the whole sovereignty, the whole paramountcy, the whole powers and authority lie within the people of the country. They can frame the Constitution. They do have the power to dismantle it. They do have the power to deconstruct it, to reshape it, to amend it, to challenge it, to question it. So all the power lie within the ambit and the hands of the people of India. Number second, that it's the sovereign Constitution. So dear students, sovereign means supreme. The people have the right to make decisions, both on internal and external matters. There is no external threat. There is no external power. There is no dictation, dear students. There is no foreign rule, foreign aggression and depression that's going to suppress the voice of the people. So the ultimate sovereign, ultimate authority of the country, that is the only people, only people. The next term, that socialist. The socialist talks about the wealth of the country that's generated socially and should be shared equally by society. It means that the property, the assets, the resource of the country need not to be cocooned by any other persons. There is no there is no scope and the place for the persons to, like the magnates, like the tycoons, to hold all the wealth and to grab the property of the nation. It indicates that the property of the country is socially distributed and it is shared equally among the different members of the country. So every Tom, Dick and Harry, every common people is responsible to safeguard the wealth of the country, and he's absolutely having the absolute rights to enjoy its beauty. So to establish the industries, to safeguard the resources, and to maintain the socio-economic equality, and say goodbye and to say adieu to socio-economic inequalities and disparities. The next comes the word that is the secular. Dear students, secularism, the ideology of secularism is a very, 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 very astonishing concept in the literature of the recent history. It indicates that the citizens had a complete freedom to follow any religion, but there is no optional religion for the state. Everyone is free. Everyone is free from the clients. He can profess, he can propagate, he can preach, he can demonstrate, he can practice his own religion from the core of his heart. There is no compulsion, there is no restriction, there is no upper hand, there is no question, there is no question to him or her for his profession, for his the professing his or practicing his own religion. So there is freedom of religion. Next comes this democratic. So what is this democratic? Means a form of government where the people enjoy absolute rights, dear students. That the rulers are elected. They hold their chair for a specific period of time. The government is run according to some basic rules. They are not run by the particular ideology. It's not a particular ideology that is going to run India. It's the democratic in nature and taste. Among the values, only the democratic country, only the democratic values will determine the fate of its leaders. They can be honored. They can be exiled the moment they do something that's untoward against the health of the democracy and against the health of the democratic system. Then next comes the republic. The students' republic speaks like this: the head of my state, the head of my country is elected. The person is elected. He is not hereditary in nature. The way we see among the case of this monarchy, where the king or the queen is blessed, something is based on legacy, something is credit gives to their inheritance when something is that is hereditary in position and nature. So, but when it comes to republic, the heads are elected, they are not selected. Their students, they are not selected, they are elected. So next, it comes the concept of justice. Very unique and precarious and bizarre idea. What is justice all the way? Dear students, justice means when the citizens cannot be discriminated on any grounds, on the basis of their religion, on the basis of their caste, gender, where there is no equality, where there is no inequality, where there is no disparity, where there is no gap, where there is no discrimination, where there is no prejudice. Means everyone is equal, taken equally before the banner, before the law of the country. Government should work for the welfare of all, and particularly those people who are least advantaged, the sections which I call the marginalized ones, wretched ones, deplorable ones. So justice should be given to them on the time. It need not be delayed. So next comes to this equality. Means when you talk about equality, it means all are equal before the law. The traditional social inequalities have to be ended. The India, through which it was going through the innumerable, the superstitious lines, which the credit should be given to the British rule. They tried to wipe out all those superstitious lines and notions that someone, some caste, some region should be given a superiority. They should be given a priority because they are white. And it's a will of God that white need to be ruled over the black. This stereotypical narrative has been utmost deconstructed by the people, by the constitution of the country. So dear students, when it talks about equality, it means that everyone is equal before the eyes of law and equal opportunity. The constitution of the country ensures equal opportunity to every citizen of the country. Whether, no matter where from he is, belongs to the north or the south, he is a white or a black, he's a Buddhist or a Muslim, he's a Hindu or a Sikh or a Christian. Everyone is equal before the eyes of the constitution of the country. Next comes to this fraternity. Means all of us should behave as if we are the members of the same family. No one should be treated a fellow citizen as an inferior and superior. So we have to maintain the brotherhood, we have to maintain the fraternity. And then, by this day, we are going to adopt this constitution that was 1949, 26th of the November. Dear students, the great historical day among the annals of the history of the India, when India became democratic, we became republic, and we are proud to say that we are the republic country and the largest democracy under the sun. So this is the basics of the constitution of the country that guides, these values guide the constitution of the country. If we are going to understand the whole page of the constitution, let's try to pick up, let's try to mug up, let's try to understand, these basic tenets, these basic values, these basic philosophical tenets of the constitution of the country, which are embedded in the short page, what simply we call the preamble of the country. So dear students, I request everyone, every viewer who is watching me, memorize it. You may be asked to speak it somewhere, because preamble is our identity, because we are citizens of the country and we need to respect it. So once again, I say you till then, take care. Till I will be back to you with a new chapter, with a new idea. Take care, be at home, stay connected, all the best.